I wrote something that I think should be talked about more, and it is about our planet, how we need to save it and how we can save it, and all the things that humans do that are really bad for our ecosystem, how life would be without humans, how life would be without polar bears, what polar bears are facing, etc. So let me begin reading. Wait. Before I start reading, if you want to win a free high-tier legendary pet and adopt me, if you're my 1000th subscriber, I will give it to you if you have an account. First, interact with more of my videos, like liking them, sharing them, subscribing, and you have to have an account so I can see you and I can go give you your YouTube account, your username on YouTube from your videos. So if you want a free high-tier legendary pet and adopt me, then just be my 1000th subscriber. Let's start reading. So it starts off with something more persuasive to get you to read this. So this explains what I'm going to be reading about. Want to know how almost 55% of polar bears have died in the last 4 years? Or how without humans on Earth life would be much better? Or even how you can help? Read my essay and find out. First, polar bears are dying and very fast. The percentage for them goes up 2% every 20 days. Why? It's actually very simple. Humans use things like cars that put gas into our air we breathe, and we also let our toxins in our air affecting humans and polar bears. For polar bears, it is worse, because pollutants in our air make global warming way worse, and global warming destroys not only Earth, but polar bears' habitat completely. While the Earth is slowly but surely heating up, tons of places where polar bears live are melting. Ice is cold, but the Earth is hot, so the less ice they have, the less places they have to live. It affects polar bears majorly by messing up with mating, which will slowly put a decrease on the amount of new baby polar bears being born. With less of that, the population will go into a whopping 77%, decreasing by the end of 2026, early 2027. But why should we care, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. The Arctic regulates Earth's temperature, keeping Earth 10% cooler than without it. So the polar bears die, and if they do, and they go extinct, that 10% from the Arctic will make the Earth go, yes, 10% hotter. Polar bears live in the Arctic eating fish, and it keeps the Arctic running. Without them, overpopulation of fish will grow over as fish mate. This will melt the ice, and eventually there will be no Arctic. That will be extremely bad because as the Earth is currently already warming up, adding an extra 10% increase, and water would, oops, I just clicked the page. Adding a 10% increase will not help at all. Now, how to help is the last thing about polar bears. You can reduce, reuse, recycle. You can also donate to many websites with Arctic climates and, most important, polar bears, switching to mine gas-powered things including Teslas, gas stoves, etc. This stops pollution. And lastly, stop littering. It seems small, but it's a major issue with our Earth and world today. Next part is now to talk about how great the world would be without humans. Sounds strange, but with my evidence, it won't. So first, humans put 2,000 truckloads of trash into the ocean. To think about it, that's one garbage truck worth of plastic a minute. 11 to 12 million metric tons. Humans estimate to throwing/littering 152 times a day, so 50 billion is estimated to be how much trash there is. Now, littering is so bad because it pollutes soil and water with toxic chemicals, harming wildlife through ingestion and also tangled in it. It also causes significant ecosystem costs for cleanup. So cleanup creates fire hazards and reduces air quality. And all of this is caused by humans. Another thing is factories. Humans work at factories. The exact number, as of right now, is 540 million people. That's 540 million people that are putting toxic chemicals into our air and environment. And it is 16% of all jobs. So out of 100% of jobs, people working in polluting factories is a whole 16%. Another huge thing is humans start wildfires, and nearly 85% of all wildfires in the US are made by humans. That's 5 of 6 wildfires being started by humans, which is over 1.2 million people. Wildfires pollute our air to an extreme amount, causing humans and animals to be put up to extremely high risk for lung cancer later on. It also kills animals, and I'm not talking 1,000, I'm talking 17 million by just one single big wildfire. And 3 billion animals harmed or displaced, and just genuinely confused and disoriented. Wildfires burn over 7.5 million acres of land in a year from wildfires. That is absolutely so much land, animals, and people being hurt, harmed, and much more. Now, how do humans start wildfires? Let me tell you. Unattended fires/campfires, burning debris, down powered lines, discarded cigarettes, equipment malfunction, and arson. Now, approximately 33,000 to over 200,000 people commit arson that start wildfires every whole year. But the Reports of wildfires, arsons are increasing by 3%, going up to 5% in 2027. Now, the next thing humans do is chopping down trees for homes, roads, buildings, stores, etc. Humans chop down approximately 15 billion trees in 1 year, but despite that, 5 billion are planted in a year. That's good, but there's still 10 billion trees being cut down more, which is billions of trees cut down is equivalent to about 475 trees per second. That is atrocious, which wildfires are big losses of trees too. And while deforestation is happening, 100 million animals die, killed or injured from the trees being chopped down because animals live in trees and have families, but people are cutting them down. Exact number of the kind of animal is 9.1 million mammals, 10.7 million birds, and 67.1% 1 million reptiles, which equals to about 86.9 billion. Now, before I tell you how you can help, I'm going to tell you what will happen if deforestation keeps up, and worse, and eventually what life will be like without any trees. First, a world without trees would be physically unlivable, resulting in catastrophic climate changes, massive extinctions, and the downfall of humans in general. The temperatures would be so hot it would be unbearable, with frequent flash floods as well. Without trees to produce oxygen we breathe, filter out pollutants and stabilize soil and regulate water cycle. One second. I'm just gonna ignore that word. I do not know what it says. The planet would become a barren, desert-like wasteland. The amount of oxygen would go down and CO2 would go up, without trees to breathe in it. Coral reefs and the ocean would have toxins and pollutants in it, making it unlivable. And also the lack of stable weather, and without fertile soil, agriculture would collapse and food stack would go down. Humans would also lose basic things like wood, paper, medicine, and major food sources. Now, to conclude on a happy note, here are ways you can help with all of this. Donate to animal shelters, wildlife facilities, and places that support planting trees and polar bears. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Stop polluting, save water, don't start fires, don't hurt animals. # save our planet. Bye!